Literature, as the word suggests, involves letters. So though it often originates in oral traditions, strictly speaking, it must involve writing. Two theories may likely suggest how writing developed. The first suggests that after spoken words arose to identify things, orally arranging these words created meaning through speaking. The arrangement of words to generate meaning we call syntax. Then, sometime after this development, written symbols were drawn to represent speech. The second theory suggests that spoken and written meaning arose at the same time. Either theory may be correct. In either case, then, we define writing as a system of human visual communication using signs or symbols to communicate meaning. One of the earliest, if not in fact the first written system, is cuneiform, which evolved in ancient Sumer between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers over 5,000 years ago. The rivers provided both wet clay for a recording surface and reeds which cut at an angle made a wedge shape to press into the clay. Cuneiform means wedge-shaped writing. Many of these ancient cuneiform tablets have survived thousands of years, and, in addition to financial records, laws, and genealogies, contain old tales preserved from even older oral traditions, like the Epic of Gilgamesh. Another early form of writing, almost as old, is hieroglyphics, a system used by ancient Egyptians. The word itself is Greek and means God's words, both because it was used to record religious ritual and because the ancient people acknowledged the power contained in written language and wielded by those who could use it or control it. Hieroglyphics evolved from picture writing, where carved images of birds, mountains, feathers, suns, eyes, or feet came to represent sounds as well as their original objects. And then these sounds could be arranged in patterns. These ancient writings puzzled modern people for many, many years because they could only guess at the information they relayed. But in 1799, the ancient Rosetta Stone was discovered. This stone was inscribed with 3 languages. The 3 languages inscribed on the stone were the hieroglyphics of Egypt and an early form of Greek called Demotic and a later version of Ancient Greek. Since modern scholars could already interpret the latter 2 written languages, and since they found these sections relayed the same information, they worked on the assumption that the hieroglyphic portion at the top of the stone conveyed the same information, and working with this, they cracked the code. Other ancient languages, like the Aramaic of the ancient Hebrews, began to develop from pictographic origins also. The Phoenicians, who had established trade routes around the Mediterranean, most likely borrowed the Aramaic script, or elements of it, and thus introduced it to other trading partners like the ancient Greeks, who passed it along to the people who came to dominate them, the Etruscans, ancestors of the Romans. Of course, it is this Roman alphabet in use today in Western culture. Here we see how many of these letters evolved from the earliest forms on the left to their Roman forms on the right. So how is this new information called writing used? Archaeological evidence suggests that simple accounts and inventories involved in commerce are the oldest surviving records. Nearly as old are records of praise lavished on rulers, specific communities of people, and gods. Recognizing the utility and power of writing and written records, it wasn't long before powerful rulers and communities, or those wishing to become or remain so, began to collect these in the famous libraries of the ancient world. In Assyria, King Ashurbanipal collected a library 2,700 years ago. 2,300 years ago, the legendary library at Alexandria drew scholars from around the Mediterranean world. And within another century, it soon faced a rival in Pergamum in Turkey. Throughout the ancient world, libraries were gathered by rulers and wealthy patrons in Athens, Rome, Jerusalem, Timbuktu, and Beijing. So what does literature do for us? What it has always done. It gives us pleasure. It identifies what a particular culture values. It establishes authority. And hardly surprising then, it may also challenge authority. And finally, it can be used to communicate as well as test ethical knowledge.